there, this is Momma Grace. Welcome back to our campsite. Papa Joe and I are still camping this week, and we are enjoying reading stories that you'll be able to watch in your own home. It's so nice being out here in the woods. It's a beautiful day, and there's a little breeze, and it's just better than ever. It's a great day. I'm wearing my frog and toad cap. Isn't that exciting? I'm excited, and I love to wear it when I read these stories. I also have nice cold ice water today. Because when you're outside a lot, especially, you should drink a lot of water. So try to remember to drink a lot of water. It's very, very good for you. So we're going to read Frog and Toad today. 2 stories ago, we did a Frog and Toad story called Spring. And last time we did a story called The Story. Did you get to see those? I bet your mom could find them for you if you want to go back and be able to watch them all. And the one today is called The Lost Button. Have you ever lost a button? Yeah, it's frustrating. On a shirt, or even a pair of jeans or pants or something like that. If that happened to you, I hope that you were able to find the button, or somebody in your family maybe, and someone was able to sew it back on for you. I hope so. So you ready? Are you cozy? All right, let's get started. I marked my page with the little ribbon, the handy little ribbon, and here we go. Oh, I wanted to point out also, in this story, Frog and Toad talk under some big, beautiful flowers. And we brought our big, beautiful flower today. It's a big sunflower, and I love it. It was a gift from a very good friend, and I love it. And it's really fun to be able to incorporate it into our story time today. All right, here we go. A Lost Button. Toad and Frog went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow. They walked in the woods. They walked along the river. At last they went back home to Toad's house. Oh, drat, said Toad. Not only do my feet hurt, but I have lost one of the buttons on my jacket. Don't worry, said Frog. We'll go back to all the places where we walked. We will soon find your button. They walked back to the large meadow. They began to look for the button in the tall grass. Think of how tall the grass is when you're a frog or a toad. That just occurred to me. Here's your button, cried Frog. That is not my button, said Toad. That button is black. My button was white. Toad put the black button in his pocket. A sparrow flew down. He's so big. Excuse me, said the sparrow. Did you lose a button? I found one. That is not my button, said Toad. That button has 2 holes. My button had 4 holes. Toad put the button with 2 holes in his pocket. They went back to the woods and looked on the dark paths. Here's your button, said Frog. That is not my button, cried Toad. That button is small. My button was big. Toad put the small button in his pocket. A raccoon came out from behind a tree. I heard that you were looking for a button, he said. Here's one I just found. That is not my button, wailed Toad. That button is square. My button was round. Toad put the square button in his pocket. Look how big that coon is compared to Toad. Frog and Toad went back to the river. They looked for the button in the mud. Here's your button, said Frog. That is not my button, shouted Toad. That button is thin. My button was thick. Toad put the thin button in his pocket. He was very angry. He jumped up and down and screamed. The whole world is covered with buttons, and not one of them is mine. He's throwing a fit, isn't he? Toad ran home and slammed the door. There, on the floor, he saw his white, four-holed, big, round, thick button. Oh, said Toad. It was here all the time. What a lot of trouble I've made for Frog. Toad took all of the buttons out of his pocket. He took his sewing box down from the shelf. Toad sewed the buttons all over his jacket. The next day, Toad gave his jacket to Frog. Frog thought that it was beautiful. He put it on and jumped for joy. None of the buttons fell off. Toad had sewed them on very well. And that's the end of our story called A Lost Button. Isn't that a fun story? I would have loved to see Frog jumping around because, frogs really can jump. That would have been great. He was so excited. This story reminded me of another story that we just recently read called Corduroy. Do you remember that one? Did you watch that one? And that's also about a lost button, because Corduroy also lost a button. And his new friend Lisa got a button and sewed it on for him. Isn't that nice? It's another story about two friends who help each other when one has lost a button. That's really interesting. I never put that together before. So if you haven't seen Corduroy yet, you should go back and watch it, because that's a fun story too. Another thing that I noticed about this story was that Toad has a short temper. Toad gets pretty mad pretty quickly, and that's not a great quality. But one good thing about Toad that I appreciate is that he recognized right away. He said when he found his button, "What a lot of trouble I've caused for Frog." And he went about trying to make it right and do something really nice for Frog. So I think even though he got angry, he caught himself pretty quick. And he did what he could do to be kind to Frog, and he appreciated Frog's help. Frog and Toad are the best of friends. And like we've said before, they're very different. They help each other. And look at the end how happy Frog was with that jacket. That was a really nice story. Well, I'm glad you joined me today. Ella was out here with me, but she decided to go find a cozy place where it's cooler in the bushes back here under the shade, and got kind of tangled up in the sticks. So we let her go inside where there's some air conditioning, and that's why she's not here beside me right now. Well, I'm going to have another drink of cold ice water. Remember to drink your water. So glad you joined us today. I hope you have a great week. I'll be thinking about you. Remember that Momma Grace is always here. And I'll say goodbye, but just for now.